Okay, we are on air, and what this hangout is, it's just a late night hangout because I already finished an 8-hour one. So, after doing 8 hours of a hangout, going and starting another one, most people wanted to. I know True has one right now. Obviously, I was just in there. This hangout is basically it's a just let everybody know what a coward True Empiricism really is. I mean, I go into the room to try to explain to him why is a fallacy to motive. Okay, why he basically trying to call me a liar for the reasons why I had to um, take somebody out of broadcast and to question me about my motive behind it. That basically he was calling me a liar by questioning my motive. So I went in there very civilly to ask him about it, and of course, literally, and I was in there not more than 5 minutes. I must have been muted 10 times. Okay, True Empiricism, you are the biggest coward I've ever met in my entire life. You have got to be one of the worst things that ever happened to this entire Great Debate community of all time. And that's saying something. I mean, you surpass Shock of God. You surpass Nephilim Free. You are just a person who will not leave your little comfort zone because you're a coward. Come into my room and actually have a conversation that you don't have dominion on. I challenge you. I challenge you right here and now. Find a time. Come into my room anytime you want and talk about any subject you want. Okay? But if you do not, then you are a freaking coward because I've gone into your room countless times. And even when I went into your rap tonight, all I did was I get muted constantly, which I expected. Okay? But you have no power in my room, and that scares the shit out of you, dude. I know it does because you're a little crying little bitch. Okay? That's your problem. And you want to have this little thing of superiority, and guess what? You don't have it. You don't know shit about what you're talking about. You can't explain a goddamn thing. And you know if you come in here, you're going to be put your feet to the fire. And I think that really bothers you because you will not have control. You will not have mods. You cannot raise your volume. You cannot lower my volume. And you cannot kick people. So if you are not a fucking coward, then you get your ass in my room one of these days. If not, then I want everybody to ever watch this video to see that you are a little piece of shit coward because I am calling you out, motherfucker. I am seriously calling you out. And no, I am not bad. I am not even upset. I'm actually grateful. I'm grateful that you've demonstrated to your people and to all sides of the Great Debate community that you are completely, utterly incapable of having an actual conversation with anybody who disagree with you and be forceful enough to tell you that you are unequivocally 100% incompetent in everything you've ever said. But anyways, hey, other than that, hey, I'm in a pretty good mood. I'm just really kind of getting tired. But how are you guys?
Hey,
That was my rant. Anyway.
I,
Hello.
That was also unscripted. By the way, that's unscripted. That was pretty good, right? Unscripted.
Hey, fuck you. Hey,
Fuck you, mom. But
yeah,
anyways,
no,
hey,
hey,
real quick.
fuck you.
Yeah,
How is
real,
everybody?
yeah, that's good. Rihanna, did you watch this? Did you actually? I'm sorry. Thaddeus, you were in the other room, right? Thaddeus, you got a mic?
can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead. You wanted to say something before we went on broadcast, so go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was about to go to sleep and I heard my phone went off and I was looking at the chat and I realized that True was hosting a hangout. So with that little bit of hope that I always keep that you'll actually go in and join the room and you guys can speak as gentlemen to each other and just hash the whole personal thing out and just kind of get to the point and start the debate or the conversation or whatever right on the science stuff. um I was very disappointed.
Did I
um
not try? Did I go in there balls blazing? I went in there very quietly and very calmly to ask him about what he had said, accusing me of lying because I couldn't talk loud, and that the only reason why I actually took Tommy out of broadcast was because he was causing a lot of contention between Fiona and other people, and I thought, okay, let me take the linchpin out. That way, it takes me forever to even hide somebody. Okay, my computer's so slow that literally took me about 20 seconds to even do. Okay, I'm not even
yeah,
exaggerating.
they were
And I can
all.
testify my computer is a piece of shit. And so that's why I did that. That was the only reason because I had to tell people, look, I cannot talk loud. It wasn't to just to silence him. It wasn't to diminish anything Tommy was saying. And of course, True in them runs with that. Oh, Tommy's being persecuted. No, come on. I've had Tommy in my hangouts so many damn times. But you know what? True has not come into one of my hangouts because he's a coward. But go ahead.
Yeah. I agree. I like you treated me fairly, and everyone that I've seen join your hangout pretty fairly. Not unless they're just outright being assholes, and they'll get muted or kicked. And you've been very patient, even in those situations. Um, I was hoping, sincerely hoping, that you guys would at least just have this one thing out, and then just kind of move on to the debate on a whole, right? And that did not happen, and it's not your fault.
I probably would have stuck around. Just real quick, I would have stuck around. I probably would have talked about ATV synthase with him had he just apologized. And he said, okay, you know what? I shouldn't have said that because you do have a roommate, and I know what it's like. Hannah knows what it's like. He knows what it's like. But to have a fallacy and a motive that the only reason I silenced him and then I used lyrical rhyme as an excuse, that's bringing in other people. And I take that offensively, okay, because she's my friend. And to me to use her as an excuse and mute Tommy, that's incomprehensible.
Especially when he's sitting there talking to somebody who made up an excuse to leave your hangout and not come back, and he didn't do what his excuse was. He was in TrueEmpiricism's room. Didn't he say he had to go? He had to go spend time with the wife, so he couldn't possibly come to the next hangout.
Good point. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's fine. It's no big deal. It's just interesting. I don't think he lied either. No.
Right. But see, that's what the difference is. I'm not gonna assume that Tommy lied because he didn't want to go to my hangout and then he wanted to spend time with his wife. But for true thinks everybody's lying. He's called everybody in the community a liar once.
Yeah.
At least. Okay, we're making a collage, and I'm telling you, this video that's coming out, True. I can't give you too much detail about it, but yeah, you're gonna look like shit, dude.
Well,
I've already watched half of it.
He pulled the other tactic, and I've noticed this is something that he's pulled with everyone. Fiona and Hogtie, and it's very common. You laid out your case. That he doesn't know anything about this whole thing, and he made this assertion that just when Tommy was coming up with this amazing evidence, we got scared, and so you had to unbroadcast him, and that you made up this whole thing about Lyrical being asleep as an excuse. Hell no, I'm not going to apologize to you. And I wrote it down. I was taking notes. He said, I won't apologize to you for something you did wrong. So he made the assertion again, said he wouldn't apologize. And then he said, but I'm glad to talk science with you. I'm glad for you to present your evidence. He always does that. He throws an assertion out or an accusation at someone. It's always lying. He tells somebody they're lying. And then he says, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to take any responsibility for what I just said. But now I want your evidence for science stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I cannot talk to him in his room. I want everybody to watch.
He muted you 10 times.
10 times, at least.
While he was telling you what a horrible host you had been.
And then he interrupted me. And then after I'm like, can I finish my thing? He's like, don't interrupt me. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Am I like in the Twilight Zone?
Yep.
This is why I won't go into his room. People ask me, Steve's scared to go in my room. No, fuck you, True. Nobody's scared to go in your goddamn room. I assure you. You have a few people that will because they just haven't figured out yet what a crappy fucking moderator you are. But I will at least make an effort. But what's the point? I mean, if I go into your room, what the hell? I got muted 10 times in less than three minutes. Okay, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, can I point one more thing out, and then I'll let whoever's next. I apologize. I just have to say this last thing before I forget.
Stop apologizing.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, somebody has to apologize for True's behavior. No, no. I noticed that it's back to that tactic I was talking about. Making jabs and then hiding behind the bushes and saying, "Give me your evidence." Something that I noticed was before you came in, obviously. They weren't just talking about ATP mayonnaise.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about you.
Bingo.
So how on earth True is like, I didn't want any drama. I just made up this bull crap about Steve and told everybody that I thought he was a liar, but I didn't want any drama. Steve, get serious here. We were talking about ATP mayonnaise. No bullshit.
I know.
Sorry.
I was listening. I just
Oh,
popped
of
on.
course you were. I mean, it's like, does he not know how we know what he's saying? We
Yeah.
know he wasn't talking about just ATP mayonnaise.
Well, and this is why I'm saying we can't. Okay, these are the types of arguments, like you just said, and you're exactly right. We can never bring it up to him in his room because he'll change the subject, he'll mute and boot. He's not competent enough to have an actual interlocutory. He's not competent enough to have a dialogue.
Yep.
He doesn't know what a conversation is. That's why I'm true, and I hope to God you
ATP
listen.
synthase.
I hope to God you
Sorry.
listen to this one day, True, because you are the biggest fucking coward I've ever ran across. And I thought Nephilim was free was bad. Nephilim free is not even near as bad as a coward as you. Nephilim free is stupid, but he's not a coward. He at least came to my
Neffy
room.
does mute way less than this.
Way
I've
less.
never seen anything quite like this.
Way less.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is the all-time worst person I've ever seen in the Great Debate community.
Yeah.
All-time.
Yeah, it's almost like it's personal to him.
Well,
Almost.
Even if it is personal.
It is personal.
It is personal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never mute somebody 10 times in a matter of like 3 minutes when they're trying to have a discussion. And
Yeah.
for him to outright lie and say, well, we're talking about ATP synthase, if you want to talk about that. Well, how about we address your comments to me? Are you man enough to
Right.
back your comments up, motherfucker?
No,
I mean, seriously.
he won't do it. I've
No,
never
he's a
seen him
coward.
own up to. I mean, when I've seen, I've seen this scenario play out before plenty of times. Every time somebody goes in his room to address him and say, "Hey, I just heard what you said. Are you going to take that back or clarify or apologize?" He always does exactly what he just now did. I mean, it's the same thing time and time again. No, I'm not going to apologize, but while you're here, let's talk about this bullshit that I think you should present evidence for. I mean, it's crazy.
Go ahead, Thaddeus.
But
Speechless?
and I I know I'm interrupting him, but I'm just gonna be as brief as possible. I am gonna whenever because I'm just gonna get off and go to bed. But whenever I do get the chance again, whenever he hosts another hangout, I'm gonna go and voice my opinions on his behavior tonight as
I appreciate it.
well.
You know, and I don't want anybody to think they have to stand up for me. I appreciate it. I stand up for my friends, and I don't know you very well, but I think people that they think something of a just situation. If somebody doesn't even know me, they can tell that this is an unjust situation where you have one person who has basically lost in the science and doesn't want to be corrected, and if you try to have a conversation with them, will just end up muting you and booting you and trying to dominate you.
Yep. And accuse you of
that's
dominating.
Yeah, and I'm sorry Hexapod just left because I wanted to talk to him, but I don't know if he has a mic.
I'll leave in so he can join back again. All right, it's nice talking to you guys.
No, he's back.
Good night, Odin.
Are you going to sleep, Odin?
Yeah.
He's back now. Okay.
He's
Odin,
back,
by the way, I want to say something before you leave, Odin.
Oh.
I got to tell you, man, I know you're into ID. I respect you, okay? So this is not a matter of intelligent design against creationism, against evolution. It's nothing like that. True's ideas are just bad to begin with, but it doesn't matter if somebody holds those ideas to begin with. If you're an idea, I'm going to treat you with respect for who you are, not for what you believe. And you've been coming to my rooms for a while. You've kind of been separating yourself from True rooms because you realized he was wrong on his science. You did your own research on that. I admire that, and I just want to give you props that whether you're an idea or not, I have the utmost respect for that kind of behavior. Thank you, Odian. Okay.
All right, man. No problem. It's just me. I would just like it to get back to the point where you can just have discussions, not just on the science, but just on anything, but in a more respectful and intellectual way. And
right, but it won't be in his room, and you understand why, though. And I'm going to be boosting this up and making some videos, but I can only do so much of the state of the system I have now. But I want everybody to know that this is the reason why people don't go into True's room. I mean, we've all pointed it out, but I mean, how much more evidence do people need to demonstrate he's incapable of having a conversation?
Yeah, but as I said, I'm gonna I'm gonna go and speak to him the next time he has a hangout.
As a Christian? I mean, like brother to brother kind of thing?
No, I'm just gonna,
Because I tell you right here now, Joni, he's doing disservice to Christians everywhere. And he's doing disservice to intelligent design advocates. He's making people look very bad. Seriously.
No, I'm just gonna speak to him and express my personal opinion on how he handled the situation tonight, and that's it.
Okay.
I mean,
I appreciate it.
It really has nothing to do, with what we believe in or what we defend.
I like that. That's cool, actually. No, I appreciate that. It doesn't.
Yeah, because Steve, I have to say, I kind of disagree a little bit on that. This is something I've noticed. The hive mind that I hear, I don't hear Odin talking the way I hear True talking or G-Man talking, hurling these things at atheists. They all do this, they all do that. And so and I'm guilty of saying exactly the same thing you've said before, like, gosh, he's really giving Christianity a bad name. Like, I get that, like, yeah, he very well could be, but I also remember being a Christian, and, it's not so much like that from those shoes. You know what I'm saying? For some,
right.
I think for Christians like Odin, I don't think it's like that, So that's where I kind of would, think I see where Odin's coming from. Like, it's not really about that. It's about this was just bad behavior, you know. Yeah.
Ro, are you a former Christian?
Me? Yes.
Me too. Former young Earth creationist also.
Oh, wow. No, I was never a young Earth creationist.
So was Isaiah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That fascinates me. The former. I know there's never just one thing that gets, switches the way you think, but like, what were the most compelling things?
I went to college.
There you go.
I opened a book.
Yeah, we opened a book.
Yeah. You hear a lot of resistance towards college and books in some Christian homes, and I guess that's why.
By the way, it's funny I have Hex in here and Vince in here at the same time.
I'm gonna jump out. So Hex,
I was gonna mention that one.
Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate it.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
I was going to say, Steve, as somebody who's been mistaken for someone with credentials, the fuck is it with these people and taking shit that I say and like attributing it to you?
Yeah. I want people to know that I have seen to believe, thought Vincent was a PhD in evolutionary biology, and that he thought that I was completely wrong and Tommy Hall was completely right. And then he was telling Tommy Hall, well, after you left, there was a PhD named Vincent that was telling everybody that what Tommy was saying was absolutely true. I'm like, you are lying through your motherfucking teeth. And you didn't even get his name right, because Vincent's a great guy. Vincent's smart as shit. But no offense, he's not a PhD in evolutionary biology.
No, hell no.
I have a quick update from Hannah. They are now arguing over whether they can see the literal alphabetic, I guess she meant alphabet, behind DNA sequencing. That's all.
Yeah.
What the hell does that even mean?
Come on.
Well, because DNA is information, and it's a language, and yeah, I'm going to stop because my head already hurts.
Exactly. Don't you remember his argument? It's the 26-letter English alphabet, the 26-letter English alphabet.
The 4-bit binary.
Yes.
Does Hex, does true empiricism know, and I bet he doesn't, I guess, Hex, do you have your mic working, Hex, by the way? Is he here?
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, Hex, let me ask you something. Do you think
sure.
First of all, let me clarify something. You did not agree with Tommy Hall on something, did you?
I mean, you have to give me a context here to be able to...
That epigenetics... Yeah, he says that epigenetics disproves evolutionary biology.
I don't agree with that statement. If he said that, I don't agree with it.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that they're talking about DNA code right now? Do you think that true empiricism or anybody over there knows that there's more than just 4 nitrogenous bases that can be in DNA because of telomeres? Do you think any of them know that?
I don't know. I can't comment on that. I really don't know the context well enough, and I don't know what they know.
Okay.
So, if you see what I mean, that's quite a big.
Well, I can tell you right now that they don't, and I can tell you right now that this whole 4-bit quaternary crap doesn't make sense when you add in those other bases that can be in there, especially when you have, something that's methylated. You have 5-methylene cytosine. How does that fit into the 4-base system, right? I've brought this up to Tommy before because Tommy thinks it's a 4-bit quaternary system. I'm like, okay, I don't remember the names of the other two. There's like 5 bromine uracil and 5 fluorine uracil, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I know the other two, the 5-methylene cytosine. And again, I can't look this up, so I am pulling that out of my ass. But these are other bases that can actually be in DNA. Okay, if you're going to have a system where you want to have a structured code, then you have to take those into account because they do exist. And I just have a problem with that whole quaternary structure because of those things. What do you think about that, Hex? Is that too technical?
I'm not familiar enough with the context to be able to comment on that. Sorry.
Do you know what DNA methylation is?
Yes, but I
of course you do.
I haven't partaken of the discussion up until this point enough to be able to even understand what the context of the question is.
What they're saying is that this is the context. That DNA is a code. Every code we've seen comes from intelligence. Therefore, DNA is intelligently designed.
Okay. That's. I don't agree with that.
That's the context. And of course, I try to explain to them that DNA is more than just a 4-bit code, and you have to take into account other epigenetic factors, histone acylation, histone deacylation. You have to take those into account in gene expression if you're going to build up this framework. They don't want to deal with any of that stuff. They're like, look at it, it's got ATG and C, therefore it's a 4-bit code. And I'm like, no, that's like that's so damn basic. You can't just yes, it's a code, yes, it has information, but that doesn't mean it's a fucking computer program. That's just silly. Anyone else want to weigh in on that? Okay, we're boring everybody. But anyways, I just want to get on the record that you didn't think that that Tommy Hall was correct on epigenetics, basically disproving evolutionary theory, and I'm sorry, but he did confuse you with Vincent here, and you guys are not the same persons. But. Yeah,
I would I think that these questions about information and how coding, etc., it's totally beside the point. The other team, they want to spend a lot of time there because it's easy to simply sort of say, I don't believe this, and it's. I would like to talk to some of these guys using another form of structured argument.
Right, and I want that to happen too. But and I'll get to Thaddeus in a second here. We all want to talk to True. I want to have a conversation with True about this kind of stuff. I would love to. The problem is it cannot be in his room for obvious reasons because he is incapable of moderating. He used to moderate okay. I mean, I got to admit, he moderated one time when I had a discussion with Ken Hovind, and he did a good job. But nowadays, he can't. And so we cannot talk about any of these topics in his room. And he's too much of a coward to come into mine. So that's the problem. If you go into his room, you're going to be talked over, you're going to be muted. It's just insanity in his room. So I'd like to see him come in here, and then you can address these things with him. I really would, but he won't do it. Thaddeus, what do you want to say, real quick?
I was going to say that maybe you could have at least respected it.
You're breaking up. Is he trying to talk? Is Thaddeus trying to talk? Because I can't hear him.
He got out. Maybe you could have at least respected, and then it died.
You have to check your mic, Thaddeus, or reload. But when if Hannah comes into the room, I got to tell her that, I understand what she's trying to say about keeping down the rhetoric, but it's beyond that point anymore. And if people don't like it, there's not much I can do about it anymore. I mean, I'm calling people out for what they are. And if people think that calling TrueEmpiricism a coward is not helping, I don't give a shit. He's a coward. He's an absolute coward. He's a lying piece of shit coward. and that's my feelings on it. And I don't think I need to hobble myself and be somebody I'm not just for a few people that are like, don't be calling people names. Well, fuck it. I don't care anymore. These people are not people I think I have any respect for whatsoever. I just don't.
I did want to say one thing was, I think you're right there. But yeah, when Mark Thomas earlier was saying that, people were saying that Tommy Rage quit, that was me. I was in the live chat and watching the video saying Tommy Rage quit because he had that glossy 1,000-yard stare and he wasn't listening to anything being said.
Mm-hmm.
And then he dropped while you were telling him how dishonesty was and actually proving it. Mm-hmm. And then he came back miraculously when you had stopped talking about that.
It was probably coincidence, but yeah. Did you guys? Okay, let me ask you this, Vincent. And be objective. I mean, I know you agree with us, but be objective. Did you see Tommy Hall answering either Fiona's or Hogtie's questions in any way whatsoever?
I didn't see the part when Hogtie was in here, so I can't say that. I can't answer yes or no there, but I didn't see him answer any questions for the part that I got to see. And I'll also tell you that Max Trivium posted a video a couple days ago where 2 years ago Tommy was using the same Mary Schweitzer quote and asking the same question he was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying before. Yeah.
I was in that hangout.
To him over and over and over again, and he's either too stupid or too dishonest to realize that to admit that he knows what's up.
What at least we can do now is that I have a pinpoint where I can say if he brings it up again, I'll be like, okay, just look at this video from June 1st or whatever it was, and there's your answer, Tommy. That's it. Asked and answered. We've already been through it. There's many times. Because he has brought it up many times, and he's been corrected on it many times.
Hey, Vincent, let me ask you a question, and you may not have noticed it, but I know you have been in the live chat a couple of times where I have seen this. When I mentioned to Tommy that I know I've seen him in the live chat talking about what a liar Fiona is for the past week. And I know you've been in the live chats at least during 2 of those occasions. Did you happen to see what I was talking about?
Or, yeah.
Okay, because he came back so confidently, and I thought, oh, maybe he didn't use the word liar, but I know he accused her of lying because he was trolling over and over and over, saying, you're not going to get me the link to this. You're not going to, saying that she was being dishonest. And so I wasn't crazy and off base when I said that?
No, you weren't. And we had a, what was it, half hour, 45-minute back and forth with Tommy the other night over, he said intelligence was a mechanism. So we're like, okay, prove it.
Right.
Because he said it takes intelligence to build a bridge. And we're like, okay, show me intelligence building a bridge, dude. Would no human being show me it happening? Does it happen? No.
I can't go in. I can't. My computer's really killing me right now, but I just kind of flipped over to see if I can see who's in this hangout. All the people that were actually carrying on a conversation have already left. It's just True. It's Tetrahedron, Ronnie, the other Ronnie, the ones with Down syndrome. Is his name Ronnie? I think it's Ronnie, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's a nice kid. I like him a lot.
He's nice, and it breaks my heart to see him hanging out with G-Man and Robbie.
I know.
Robbie.
Yeah. And I told him that as well. I've talked to Robbie many times, and I was like, man, it just, you don't seem to realize that the people you're associating with. I worded it differently, but yeah, I like him. But it's Johnny Casey J, Matthew, whatever his name is. So I mean, they've lost any real conversation. But Jade, what do you? I mean, you were in the side chat there? I mean, what's your take on it? I mean, I wanted to talk to him, and I was hoping he would, realize that maybe he was just bullshitting by saying that I had alternative motives, and then maybe we can have a dialogue, right? And
yeah.
You're on the outside chat.
He was, what he said. He was accusing you of deliberately. Not muting, but taking Tommy off a broadcast and making up a fake excuse that you couldn't talk loud because Lyrical, is sleeping. But you mentioned this. You've mentioned that you can't talk after 10 in other hangouts. several times.
Yes.
You mentioned it tonight several times. This is old.
I have it in writing.
Nothing new.
I have it in writing from her. If you really want to see it, I ain't lying. I'm not lying. Just when I moved in,
it's well established on your channel too.
Yeah, it's nothing new, but you understand, like Tommy said today, he doesn't listen to your hangouts unless he's in them. That's it. And Ronnie and G-Man and the others are the same way. They don't actually pay attention to what's going on unless it serves them in some way or another. So, Ronnie probably didn't, I'll say this, he probably didn't know that this is a policy at your house. But when you came in to correct him, he should have said, oh, okay, exactly. I understand. But instead, he doubled down. And not only that, even after you left, Tommy then made a fuss about it. Tommy talks about other people lying, other people calling people names, other people bringing, well, he doesn't quite say bringing drama, but, well, that I remember, but then he's the one who does it. He's the one who starts the whole thing.
Yeah, you noticed that Tommy was supposed to go spend time with his wife?
Well, I didn't know him and Ronnie were married, It's a good thing we got same-sex marriage legal.
I wonder if I can make a video about that. Him saying in one chat, "I gotta go spend time with my life," and then cut over to him going immediately into. I mean, there's no way to timestamp.
Well,
that would be funny.
Let's be fair.
Yeah, that's just one of those things.
Tommy, and Tommy could have gone up to his wife and said, "Hi,
I know.
You want to hang out?" And she said, "Fuck no."
It's just funny.
It's just. I'm not accusing him of being dishonest on that. I'm just thinking.
Oh, I know. It is amusing. The reason it's amusing is because it's Tommy, and he always accuses other people of stuff.
Right.
So that's what makes it amusing. But yes, he could have legitimately said, "Yeah, I really need to spend some time with my wife," and his wife could have said, "Oh dear, I'm busy. Go away now,"
right,
or whatever, because that happens.
Go read a book.
And why would he want to come back in here and be harassed by everybody? I get it.
Right, and he logs on to his computer, or maybe he's still logged on, and he sees that Ronnie's having a hangout, and he goes, "Well, okay, I'll do that instead." Yeah, there are logical explanations for things,
right?
But they won't give Steve that.
Right. And venting, I can even see like going into, True's got a hangout going, I'll go in here. Of course he wants to go in there. That's kind of his camp is over there, and he goes in and bitches about us for a little bit. Fine. But
yeah,
I mean, going out of the way to accuse Steve of the kind of behavior that we see over and over and over in True's room is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's projection. It's projection. I mean, we've seen that he's the king of projection. By the way, Hannah, I know you're in one and you're listening to this one. Come in here to this one. It's just come in here.
And can I just say again for the umpteenth time, if any of them are listening to this or they listen in the future, hey, I'm ready, willing, and able to debate you. It's just as long as it's a text exchange, and there are people who can set it up in different places, or a video exchange. Either one. So, let's not call people cowards because they won't debate you. People don't want to go into your rooms because they're mistreated. I don't want to go into your rooms because I've watched all these debates. Even with an independent moderator, I don't want to debate you guys, because one of the things I'd have to do is spend my time correcting what you just said. I don't want to do that. I want to have actual substance, and I want to have that substance backed up with stuff. I don't want to have someone like Neffy throwing a whole bunch of quotes out, which are usually wrong and irrelevant. No, I'm fine. I'm ready for a substantive debate on the science of evolution, biological evolution. But I'm hearing crickets.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're the one to do it too, because you do have all the little tedious details that they want.
Well, here's
Tommy won't debate me because he's afraid I can go to Fiona.
Yeah, here's the funniest thing. By the way, Kama, thank you. Hannah, I think Hannah wants to come in. I'm about to drop out. No, you can't leave. Ever.
Okay. I have a few more minutes then.
Did your husband like wonder what the hell you do all day at night? I mean,
no, he just makes fun of me.
It's like your hobby.
He has made fun of me a few times. He walks by and makes a comment, you know.
He doesn't come into any of the chats. Get him involved.
No, he watches them with me, or like he's entertained by watching me act like a fool.
All right. So when we talk about your voice and Hannah's voice like that, he's not going to hunt us down and kill us.
No,
right?
he likes Hannah's voice too.
Bad.
He thinks it's sexy.
Okay, I like your husband then. Yeah, keep him. Yeah, she's got a good voice.
She does.
But anyways, she does sultry, and I only got a couple glimpses of her, but she seems really kind of cute. Did you see what she looked like?
No, I haven't seen her.
Yeah, she's got like everybody like said she was like walking on a train or something, and I was already keeping glimpses, but like really short hair. Yeah, just like really cute. But who knows? I mean, women are all cute to me, anyways.
And she's awesome. She really is.
See, now I dropped my train of thought. Oh yeah, you know what's funny? What Jade was saying, I almost would have been willing to do that. I would have been, you know what, 15-minute video, because this is as long as my thing will record for my trial thing. Yeah, I would have done a video debate with some people maybe, because that's how it was done back in the day, right?
Yep.
People would do, that was before my time at making videos, but I was definitely on YouTube 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, and I was responding to videos in chat, but not making videos. Mm-hmm. So that's how it was done, though. I have so many comments on YouTube, it's fucking ridiculous. I mean,
Sorry, Vincent.
No, you're good.
Yeah, okay. But go to Stated Clearly's video, go to Weihart's videos, go to any of those evolutionary videos. I'm all over them.
Well, see, this is another reason why I want to do it in video exchange, although I do have some videos, and I was doing some testing last night, recording. Because I'm actually working on videos while I'm in these hangouts. I know a lot of people think that, people just sit in hangouts and do, because you have nothing else to do. But I know there are people who knit, or do arts and crafts during videos, and drag studies doing videos, and I'm working on other videos right now. I'm working on a periodic table I created for something because I didn't like any of the ones out there, so I made my own in Excel. And so I do stuff like this, but we've lost a lot of the, like the old timers who made all these great videos, while Claire isn't making videos anymore. Although a couple of weeks ago she said she was going to do a new video and we haven't seen anything, but let's get back to making videos with some substance that we can discuss and share, and let's get back to having video exchanges, especially really calm ones, because tempers flare in these hangouts, and you can't blame it when you've got someone who's being such an obstructionist like Tommy Hall, and doing weird things. Like, what was that last thing he did? He was asking for evidence, then he made a claim, and then he wanted us to back up his claim.
Yes.
Or when he kept saying mutation, 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 and I brought up a possible alternate way that the bacterial flagellum could have come about, and but wait a minute, you were saying that can't be, because you were saying it evolved from ATP synthase.
Right.
But he had just been saying there's only one way, mutation, and we're trying to tell him, no, there's other possibilities. So I come up with another possibility, and it just
And then
difficult.
He came up with dumb luck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, and also I pointed out to him pretty early on that what Fiona was saying was okay, and hold on, let me back up. They're always saying, well, you take science by faith. You have faith that the people writing the papers and peer reviewing and all that are being honest or whatever. So that's faith too. So then, we say, okay, well, you can do this. You can actually handle this evidence and see it and do this. No, that's your job. But it's been done. You can look at it. You can, do this yourself so that you don't have to have faith in anything. You can see it. And then I told him, okay, you're saying that you're dismissing the idea of looking at it for yourself. And he goes, no, I'm not. When have I ever? I mean, that's what he was doing. He was
That's
saying,
what he
no,
does.
I won't look.
That's what he does.
I'm back. You know what's funny
He
is
doesn't want to look.
I wonder if True purposely like mutes people to get them to leave or whatever because he doesn't want anybody that could actually give him a real challenge.
Yes.
Well,
I think he's so scared of anybody giving him a challenge because I would not let him get away with the crap that he pulls, and he knows it.
The other night when he came in and then he brought up the Mary Schweitzer stuff, do you know why he came into the hangout? Because he was in the external chat bullshitting
trolling
and yelling,
yeah.
and I put him in timeout, and he got pissed off and came in.
Oh, I know. I heard that. He bitched to me too. Both him and Moses were bitching at me, and Moses was like, "I'm never gonna go to your hangouts again." I'm like, "Oh, okay, big loss there." Yeah, and they're like, "Well, we were being given time out by," and he didn't say Vince. They just said, we were getting. And I'm like, "Well,
drag timed a couple people out too, but so does Annabelle."
But I was like, "Well, let me know what's going on. If I think people are getting timed out unfairly, I don't care who it is. I will make a note of it." But they never mentioned anything to me. I don't like people being timed out. I don't think there's a reason for it unless there's absolutely just people taking up space where people can't read the chat.
That's why I've seen people be timed out because they're trolling incessantly.
Yeah. So I'm going to say right now.
Or somebody says something blatantly dishonest, like somebody, their first comment earlier was Fiona is a liar, and that was the only thing they said.
Right.
Fiona's a liar, and I went, okay, you're getting timed out. You're obviously not here to add anything to the conversation.
Right.
I feel you only deserve a timeout if your name is Robert E. Lee.
Oh, he's blocked. He's the only person I have blocked from my live feed. You know that? The only person. I have one person blocked.
Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to say that if anybody objects to what Steve has said about Ronnie, about Steve's opinion about Ronnie, according to everything that Ronnie and Tommy just recently said in their hangout, opinions are okay. Even if the opinion is accusing someone of something, opinions are okay. So there's nothing wrong with what Steve said in any way whatsoever, because it's his opinion. It could be Steve's opinion that Ronnie likes to rip the heads off of pigeons. And that's okay because it's Steve's opinion. So just...
Well, it's funny because I saw how Tommy twisted it. What is somebody doing? Holding a knife?
Oh, sorry. I'm spraying spray cleaner. Sorry.
Yeah, I just said spritz. I was like holding a knife on a whetstone or something. But no, what I noticed was Tommy said, "Well, Steve came in here accusing you of True of lying." No, True was accusing me of lying by saying that I came up with an excuse to have to hide Tommy from broadcast. So he was saying that I was lying, and I was in there to call him out on it. Okay, because I was like, "Fuck this, man." Why am I?
You weren't so terrified of the evidence.
Oh, I know. But see, I was like, okay, I'll do this again. I'll go into his room, even though I'd be against my better judgment. I'm like, you know what? But I'm not scared of True. I am so not scared of True. It's ridiculous. But I wanted people to see that he was calling me a liar when I could actually demonstrate, because everybody knows I can't be very loud, and he wouldn't let me have a conversation about that. He didn't want to be confronted. He didn't want to be shown up in front of his people that he actually did what he did, and he was incorrect about it because he used a fallacy of motive. And he wouldn't let me point that out. That's why he had to mute me 10 times. And I probably would have stayed longer had he apologized and talked about ATP synthase maybe or something, whatever the hell you want to talk about. I would have stuck around probably. Okay, I've been in his room many times. But, yeah, every time I go into his room the last 10, 15 times, I just get booted.
I just don't see why anyone thinks that they would be able to get a discussion on some topic or issue after making stuff up about you and then saying, no, I'm not going to apologize. Oh, but let's talk about something else, though. I mean, I've never had an exchange like that before. But
I told you, he's batshit or something.
I'm not going to apologize for lying about you, but let's talk about some sandwiches.
Exactly. It's like, wait, how do you expect me to get past this?
And I'm sorry, Hannah. I know, I'm trying to keep down the rhetoric, but I mean, I'm sorry. He's a fucking coward. Just a coward.
No, I understand that. I'm not gonna lie. That was very. I don't even want to say a dick move, but I don't know a good phrase for that. It was a dick move.
I mean, he should have said, "Oh shit, Steve's in my room. I finally get to ask him a bunch of questions, and or whatever, talk about whatever." And I probably would have.
I mean, the only thing is that we can't apply our rules to his rule. You know, if he's gonna interrupt you, you can't stop him. There's no. It's like a train. You know, you can't stop it once it's going like 110 miles per hour.
Right. Well,
that's the only thing. It's like that's annoying, but it is.
It was so funny because he interrupted me and then accused me of interrupting him because that's what he does.
That's the standard move.
That's a standard move. Yeah.
I've seen it tons of times. Yeah.
His room that I just exited was, you know, a train wreck as well. So you know.
It's turned into an echo chamber now. Right. What happened after?
It didn't actually. He had quite a few people opposing him, but it was mostly people just talking over one another, and I couldn't hear you guys and him going off at the same time, and he just kept trying to make order, and it was chaos still.
What? That happens over there? I was under the impression it only happened here.
Yeah, but he's such a brilliant moderator. Couldn't get anything under control.
He knows how to use that mute button too. I don't know what's up.
Oh my God!
He didn't mute anybody other than to tell them that Hannah would like to tell everybody to
fuck
not
off.
talk over one another.
Hannah, you're the secret weapon.
Oh, hey,
okay,
my keyboard's upside down. That's not going to work.
Hannah's gonna lose her patience pretty quickly. I have a feeling. Though.
Okay.
Trust me.
Can I read something?
Go nuts.
Okay, because the reason I want to read it is because Tommy just posted this. Steve McRae, why are you telling Hexapod that I said epigenetics disproved evolution? I've told you over and over that nothing disproves evolution. A theoretical concept cannot be disproven. I cannot disprove ghosts or aliens either. What I've said is that epigenetic modifications, which confer adaptive traits, serve as an alternative to RMNS, to the neo-Darwinian mechanism of change. In fact, many traits that used to be believed by science to be genetic in nature are actually epigenetic and don't involve a sequence change at all. Please get the story straight and stop making up straw men.
Tommy's an idiot.
First of all, Tommy, if it's epigenetic, it's still genetic.
Yeah.
But what you mean is it's not an inherited. It's not a particular type of genetic trait. It's still genetics. Tommy.
I've also never heard of theoretical biology. Am I crazy? Or is that not a thing?
Well, there is, but not what he's thinking about.
Oh, I didn't even think it existed. I thought, well, certainly evolution isn't theoretical.
Yeah, and he has said,
No.
I don't care what Tommy says, he has said many times that the theory is outdated, the theory is wrong, that implies it's falsified. I mean, now Tommy's just playing a game of semantics.
Yeah,
So
I was just going to say, it's just to say it's not falsifiable.
Yeah, so if he wants to say it's not falsifiable, but epigenetics makes evolution wrong, then what the hell? Then it's falsified, Tommy. Okay, that's a synonymous thing. If evolutionary theory is wrong, then it's been falsified. So you can't have it both freaking ways, dude.
Plus,
Tommy really sucks at basic reasoning like this.
Doesn't he think a ghost is the mind that is the mechanism for his thought about?
He doesn't have any mechanism. He doesn't. First of all, I'm sorry, Tommy, but you don't know what a mechanism is. Okay, and you have these weird conceptualizations. That's why when you're talking in Tommy speak, you're talking in a whole different language. You talked about snow being a mechanism. How the hell is snow a mechanism? Somebody explain this.
I forgot.
He keeps saying sequence change. I'm not quite getting that.
Well, okay. Here's the thing with epigenetic modification, and Hexapod can chime in at any time. By the way, dude, it's still a change of the genetic structure. Okay, it's still you're adding a methyl group, the CH3, to like cytosine. It's still a change, and that is inheritable. Okay. It is a modification of the gene, making it a different allele. So it's an epiallele, they're called. Okay, but all genes have these modifications to them. All of them, most of the genome of some kind has a lot of these methyl tags to them. Okay, so these have been around for a very long time. Tommy thinks this is something new, and look at this, we've got epigenetics. Well, Tommy, epigenetics have been around for a very freaking long time. Okay, we've known how histone acetylation and deacetylation works. We know how it affects gene expression by how tightly the chromatin is wrapped around the histone. We know these things, right? But Tommy, it's all this stuff just falsifies evolutionary theory. Why? He hasn't ever given me a reason. Well, he doesn't say it can't be falsified, but it's wrong.
But when you're talking about epigenetics and methylation or whatever you call it, that's not changing the sequence. That's just changing how it's expressed. right?
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't change
what
the.
that means?
Well, hang on. It doesn't change the base sequence, but
Right.
the base code just changed. Okay, it's not the same chemical anymore. It's not. It's not. It's not C. It's a modified C, right? I mean, there's also things called telomeres in there, but they are a modification. But it's still the basic sequence. But what happens when they do a genomic sequence is that they can either account for those methyl tags or not. From what I understand, it's more expensive to do it that way. But again, Sam is the bioinformatics person. I'm just going from a very layman's point of view on what I know about it. But yeah, but it doesn't. It's incorporated in evolutionary biology. Evolutionary biology takes into account things like epigenetics because it's still a change of allelic frequency if it's passed on. And Tommy doesn't want to understand that. What's new, right?
He's stuck on the show me the mutation, show me this, step A, B, C, and D, and asking Fiona how many differences were there between between the motor and the
Type 3 secretary system?
yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I don't know. I mean, you know, like she's gonna carry all that around. Like you said, it was like if you suddenly ask Tommy about, we get a question about nuclear reactors, is he gonna know?
Yeah, that's actually the most trivial piece of data that I've ever had to memorize, that I've never forgotten. And the question was asked, what is the thickness of the niobium coating around the zircon oxide fuel pellet used in a D2G type reactor system? And I know it's 8 microns. You'll never find it on Google. I mean, it's so trivial that you don't even find it out there. It does. I don't think it would exist anywhere on the internet. But but it's something that I had to memorize, and that was trivial. Why, I don't know. Right? I mean, how often are you going to break into the zircon oxide? You have cladding, and inside those you have pellets, which is your radium-235 with this niobium coating that prevents buckling, or helps prevent buckling of the caladium plates. And we had to know it to that much detail, though. I mean, we had to know complexity of how this shit actually works. But when it comes to biology, completely different story, right? I mean, I have a tertiary understanding, but it's still college level. But Tommy, he doesn't want to get to that level, and I don't know why. He could do it. Tommy's an idiot in one way, that he doesn't want to learn things properly, and I know he knows his logic and reasoning is sucky. But another way, he could memorize pretty good information. I think that if he actually wanted to, he could talk about this stuff far better than True could ever do.
I think he's just doing it all for the love of.
Why would you disagree?
Because
Why would I say this disagree? All True does is rote memorization. Okay, Isaiah. I think if Tommy, this is a big if Tommy wanted to understand and apply himself, I think he would do okay. But I made the same mistake by saying that with True one time, so it might be right.
Well, yeah, maybe Tommy, but True, it's out of the question.
Oh yeah, I was completely wrong on that. I thought True, way back when. I thought if he actually tried to study this stuff, he would get it down, and I'm realizing that I was completely wrong. He just does not have the mental acuity to actually learn any of this shit properly. He can memorize it, but he doesn't understand the concepts, I don't think. Tommy could understand the concepts better if he ever applied himself.
Jungle Jargon is in the side chat of Ronnie's hangout right now, talking about these mindless object credit givers.
Yeah.
Don't you just love that spiel?
It's ridiculous.
He has not said. I'm sorry to interrupt. He has literally not said any different that he always says. Like, he's just repeating himself.
It's the same. Yes.
Objects. What is it? Mindless things can't make you. You're an object credit giver. La la la. And I'm like, fuck me. Please just say something different.
He is a broken record.
Somebody home. The lights are on, but nobody's home.
Yeah.
And Jungle used to come into my room quite often. He hasn't in a very long time. But I always got along with Jungle. I mean, me and Isaiah would talk to Jungle for a very long time. I've never had words with Jungle. I've never until recently. He's gotten much more hostile, but I've never had words with him. I call him an idiot. Yeah, I call him an idiot, but I mean, I say that of a lot of people. I mean, it is what it is. But again, I only call people idiots that deserve to be called idiot. It has nothing to do with they don't know something. It's what Jungle does. He just says the same thing over again.
He has kind of a sense of humor about it too, though. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jade.
I was just going to say the one thing about Jungle is that you know, there are some people here that are idiots just because they don't think, they don't want to think, they don't
Right.
try. Jungle's got something wrong, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Well,
There's-
I won't give out too much information, but this he has made public. I don't know if it's true. I believe him. I think that because I think Jungle doesn't lie, but he did suffer from encephalitis years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He said he suffered from rabies, all stages. I mean, I don't know he suffered from all
Right.
stages because the final
Well, that's
stage
true.
is death.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. The final stage is death of rabies, but I think I remember the rabies, but I think it didn't bring on a case of encephalitis.
The fever.
That-
Yeah.
That may be, you know.
Yeah.
And if he, you know, I believe him when he talks about growing up in the Amazon. I think his parents were missionaries.
Yeah.
That's why, if I remember correctly, that's why he really did grow up in the Amazon. And you know, he's just got some problems.
Yeah, he's got
You
some
know,
wiring upstairs, not
Yeah.
quite connected.
it's kind of he's on my list of special people that I don't harass or any, you know, because there are certain people who are just not quite all there, or rather fragile, and
Yeah,
you know,
and-
I call it my Jason Burns list.
Yes.
I guess I might call him an idiot every so often, but I'm the same way, Jade. I don't treat Jungle bad. I mean, I just
No. If anything, you actually kind of call him an idiot in a friendly way. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't, you know, it's like, I mean, I might call, like, if Veckel said something really stupid, I might call him an idiot. But it would be in a, you know, a friendly way. It's not like, you can't, just because someone has certain limitations doesn't mean that you treat them with kid gloves. It just means you keep in your mind that they have certain limitations and you only go so far, you know. It's like, I'm not gonna, I mean, there are some people I just go right after and say, no, you're wrong, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and so on and so forth. With Jungle, it's just, you kind of back off at a certain point.
Veckel was in that hangout when I went in there, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I wonder. I'm gonna have to ask him later. I mean, does Veckel think it was appropriate for him to mute me 10 times? I mean, really? Was